Hello, and welcome to another episode of We Need to Talk. So, clearly, I'm not even in our setup. We had a new setup completely, so new background, different chair, different setup, and we recorded 2 episodes, one just me by myself, one with a guest, and unfortunately, both those episodes have no sound, so they will not see the light of day. And that's unfortunate, and our editor is upset to say the least. He's crashing out. So give some love to our editor in the comments below. But as you can see, I'm not even in my home setup or my office setup or anything. I'm literally in a room that you guys have never seen before. Because I'm in a completely different space on completely different country, in a completely different country. All of that is irrelevant, really. But the point of the first episode was the spoon theory. And I found that it was so fitting. I'm looking for my notes, that's why I'm looking down so much. So, the spoon theory is created by Christine Mezzarandino, and she has lupus. And in suffering with lupus, she was talking to her friend. I'm going to link her explanation of the spoon theory down below because I love her explanation, and I think that with those types of explanations that you should hear that person's story from them, because you can't really truly get the essence of a story completely in all its glory unless you hear it from the source. And I think she tells it really well. It's pretty short, her telling it, and even if it's not, it's a good video and you can watch it on 2x speed. So with lupus, her friend was asking how she functions as an adult with lupus, and she used spoons to represent energy. So 1 spoon equals the amount of energy that it would take to do a certain activity. And this theory was then used for explaining a lot of different chronic illnesses and conditions. And I thought that it was befitting me in the mental state that I'm in right now. I'm really exhausted. I'm starting to feel quite burnt out. So the fact that I'm feeling burnt out and all of this stuff happened with the 2 episodes that we already shot so that I could take some time for myself is just, it shows the authenticity of it, and it actually speaks to the spoon theory and how, well, people who function normally, I'll say, if they have all the amount of energy, they're eating right, they're exercising, they don't suffer with any illnesses, they're at their peak, and they start the day with 15 spoons, and getting out of bed doesn't cost them a spoon, but going into the shower costs them a spoon. We'll say getting out of bed costs them a spoon, going to the shower, eating breakfast and getting ready for work, going to work through traffic, working throughout the day, exercising after work, socializing with friends after work, getting home, eating dinner, reflecting on the day, getting ready for bed, and then going to sleep. So we've taken 12 spoons, and they have 3 spoons left over at the end of the day. Like, they're tired, but they're not like super drained. And for people with chronic illnesses, 1 spoon isn't sometimes enough for an activity. So you might take 3 spoons to get out of the bed, or 4 spoons to go in the shower, because you're breaking down the shower and it's like, I have to take off my clothes, I have to go in the shower, I have to lather, rinse. Sometimes if you have to wash your hair, etc. So it's broken down for that many spoons for somebody with a chronic illness, or even a mental illness, because it takes so much more energy out of that person to complete the task, and that's why they need more spoons to complete the task. Somebody who's fully functioning, doesn't have any illnesses or issues, they don't need as much energy to complete all of the tasks. So that was her way to explain the physical, the mental, the emotional exhaustion that just comes with using all your spoons. So for them, getting out of bed might mean 3 spoons are already gone. You have 12 spoons left. Then you have 4 spoons to take a shower, and you now have to prioritize things. You now have to cancel some things, because remember, it took the regular functioning adult 12 spoons to function throughout the day, and they did so many things. But for the person who has a chronic illness or mental illness, it's going to take more spoons, and therefore they can't function by using the limited amount of spoons to do all of those tasks. So they have to prioritize which task they're going to do that particular day, or they're going to have to try to borrow from the future. So it's like, okay, now I might not shower, or I might not eat breakfast, might not eat lunch, might eat dinner, or I might snack on things. And I know, like, the automatic thing is like, ew, you're not showering, and all the judgment comes out, and it's like, oh, you didn't brush your teeth, or oh, you're disgusting. And we're really judgmental on people. But if you think about it, if I only have 15 spoons, there's no way to pull spoons out of thin air. Like, you have the spoons that you have, and that's just the energy that you woke up throughout the day with. You didn't decide, oh, I'm only gonna have 15 spoons and you're limiting yourself. No, that's just how your body functions. And it takes 4 spoons to shower. Like, there's no changing the amount of spoons in these aspects. And it's like, okay, I have to prioritize. So if I don't have to go out today, if I don't have to socialize with people, I can put showering on the back burner, because I don't have to interact with people, so it doesn't necessarily matter how I smell. So I might go, okay, I don't smell that bad today, so I'm just gonna try to eat something. Because on a day where you prioritize showering because you have to leave the house, you might not eat. And it's like a Jenga kind of toss. Which one am I going to pick? Which one am I going to do today? Which aspects am I going to complete? And some days you start it with more spoons. Some days you start it with less spoons. And when you have less spoons, there's no way that you're going to even do majority of the things. And when you have more spoons, you can get more done. Now, you can borrow spoons from another day. You take the energy from your reserve and use that. But then you have to be mindful that since you're taking it from a day that's coming after the day that you're going through, you will more than likely struggle. You'll crash. You'll be face flat on the bed, not moving, not functioning, because there's nothing that you can do. Like, you already used your spoons on a previous day, and now there's no more spoons for even that day. So you have to kind of gamble with yourself and be like, okay, am I going to use spoons from another day? Am I going to only use the spoons I have today? If I have nothing left in my reserve, like, I'm going to be knocked out for 2 to 3 days, and I have to be mindful of that. So I also have to be like, okay, I don't want to mess up. I don't want to take too many spoons. I don't want to use the reserves. I have to prioritize. I have to function the way that I function. And like I was just talking about, the judgment that comes with that, because sometimes the person who is fully functioning could also have a bad day where they start out with less spoons, and therefore they need more energy, so they take more spoons to complete more tasks, if that makes sense. But we're judging ourselves and judging other people based on the fact that they have to prioritize certain tasks, and that sometimes showering might be put on the back burner, brushing your teeth might be put on the back burner, doing your hair might be put on the back burner, But it's like we have to be so gracious and compassionate with one another, because it really matters to be gracious and compassionate. Back to regularly scheduled programming. If I changed positions, it's because I moved to get my food. Right. So we're judging each other. We're not being self-compassionate. We're not being compassionate to others. And the spoon theory explains so well for the visual learners that sometimes it takes so much energy to do things, and not all the time we can be perfect and do exactly all the things that need to be done. And we really need to focus on refilling our spoons. So when we realize, okay, going to work, socializing, doing other things really drain us of our energy, we have to be mindful of those things. Now, obviously we can't stop working if you don't have an income. If you don't have means to survive, then being like, oh, I'm gonna quit working because it takes too much energy, it takes too much of my spoons, obviously wouldn't be plausible for you. But at the same time, we're like, okay, I need to find a way to regain some of my spoons. So sometimes you realize moving around the tasks isn't the only way to manage the spoons or the energy. You can also have boundaries and say no to activities that take spoons that are not necessary, so non-essential activities. And that might mean not socializing with people as often if that's what drains you, or socializing more if socializing gives you energy. Like if you're an extrovert, if you like it. Scheduling downtime and self-care is also very important, and planning time to recuperate. So it's not just sleeping. Resting can mean so many different things. Doing yoga, doing meditation, just listening to music, going on a walk, touching grass, being in nature can be enough to really revitalize you in a sense. Sometimes taking a shower, taking a bath, lighting some candles, setting the mood for yourself can cause you to be like, refilling. And I know that sounds contradictory with how I said for some people taking a shower takes too much, but for some people it's like, okay, I use 3 spoons to shower, but I gain 5 spoons from showering, so it cancels out and you get 2 spoons left over. Therefore you gain something from that experience, even though it took energy to do it. And if that works for you, then you can use that as a way to revitalize yourself, to replenish some of your spoons that you've used. If it doesn't work for you and it depletes you, then you'd have to prioritize how you're going to put it into your schedule, because that is something that takes energy from you. So other than draining and restoring and managing your spoon, you just need to figure out what activities. We're not meant to handle everything alone. Social support, emotional support, mental support, asking for help when you need help is important. So there are activities that you will not be able to do on your own. If you can afford meal prep, or like somebody else doing it for you and you just paying them to do it and deliver it to you, and you eating food that way, do that. If you can pay for a trainer so that you don't have to think about what you're going to do to exercise. If you could pay for classes, if you could just pay for the gym in general and then Google workouts. If you can get somebody to pick up your kids from school or drop them off in like a carpooling situation. If you can take time to do self-care activities like hair, nails, whatever floats your boat, if that fills or revitalizes you, do those things. Set those things up. Asking for help with money if you need help with money. If financial stress is bringing you down, I know that it does bring pretty much all of us down, but we can still find ways to compensate, and having a community and having the support can guide you and help you and cause you to use less spoons. At this point I think I'm just rambling, but like I said, this was supposed to just be a quick me re-explaining the spoon theory because I thought it was pretty good to share. I personally I'm feeling super tired, super drained, because I thought the year started out so great, so good, and then it kind of started taking a bit of a dive, and I was taking on all of that just in my brain and living in my brain, and it's not good to live in your brain all the time, just keeping things and thoughts running constantly. Sometimes you need to just get out of your brain, touch grass, have a moment to just breathe, and I wasn't doing that, and I was just burning myself out trying to do too many things to try to compensate for the valleys instead of just letting the mountains and valleys happen when they happen, and realizing that I'm not in control, which is super hard for me to not be a perfectionist, especially when I already feel so out of control with having limited amount of spoons, limited amount of energy. And I feel like I struggle with functioning, and therefore when another thing is then taken out of my control, it feels as though it's the end of the world when it's not. So I was just hopping on here to give you guys a little one-on-one chat with me. It's not our usual podcast episode, unfortunately. As I said, audio is gone, and this is just a refilm of it. I don't even know if I'm going to use this version or if I'm gonna spruce myself up and try to be more lively, but I feel like this is an authentic way to just talk about the spoon theory, because right now I'm having a low energy day. Right now I'm having a low energy couple of days, and something came up and I had to use spoons in my reserve to make this video to continue, and I just thought it was completely fitting. I'm literally in my pajamas, literally about to eat, ready for the day to be done, and the sun is setting, and I am like now having to muster up some energy to have this conversation with you guys. But I'll see you next week, and I probably won't be looking like this or in the setup on another episode of We Need to Talk. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.